Hey, Hera, it's me, Zeb. Chopper, don't you recognize me? I wonder what got into them. Move. Oh, happy to oblige, my spot. Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today let's take a look at the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Star Wars Rebels Garazeb Orrelios. Or Zeb if you're his friend. And yes, before we even get into it, I overpaid slightly for this, but it's Zeb! We've been waiting forever for him, and when I saw it I thought, no, yes, no, oh, no, okay, I had to grab it. This finishes off our Rebels crew, at least this version of the Rebels crew. I still want older versions of Ezra and Sabine and Kanan with the gook. But Zeb had a fairly consistent look through the series, so I'm happy to finally have him in hand. Looking at the package, I think this is my first time laying hands on this new package design. They've changed it up a bit and different colors for different eras of Star Wars. For Rebels, we get purple accents. The gray in the background seems bland, especially considering Zeb's skin tones in places. But it's a trash around my toy. On the side we get a nice drawing of Zeb, and that's on an angle. This is something new with this packaging too. And I was about to say, I don't know why they did it like that, but when it's hanging on a peg, you can look down the sides and see all the characters without having to crane over. Usually it's flat and you have to... This way you can just look down the gap and you can see all the characters. I don't know why I hadn't thought of that before. On the back, that same drawing of Zeb, blown up a bit. Here's a bio. He's number 1 in this Rebels offshoot series. Down here's the warnings in many languages. Don't put them in your mouth. On the other side, we lose the big font. We just get a Star Wars logo, Black Series, and then some window. On the top, it's no longer just a black piece of cardboard. There's a window added here, too. On the bottom, legalese, barcode, but let's see what's going on here. Is this new packaging gonna be complicated? Nope, it just flips right open. I know with the Mattel stuff, it has an angle like that, and sometimes you're fighting tabs and tape and everything. Also, they went back to the overlay tray. The clear plastic's not actually attached to the cardboard. On top of that, there's an insert if you want that bland gray for a background. Oh, no rubber bands. Sweet! And there we go, all out of the package, and oh man, I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's a fun figure, but it's slightly fiddly. And looking at the figure, it's definitely Zeb. It's his design from Rebels, which was, and I'm sure most of you already know this, it was based on the original concept art for Chewbacca.
Haven't you ever seen a rare hairless Wookiee before?
But of course they did some tweaks, some changes, added some colors, added some armor, and ooh, you just get a unique looking alien guy. So of course Zeb had to have a 100% new sculpt, and I figured that's part of the reason we had to wait so long for him. The proportions, like the thick arms and the muscular chest, is just brought across in plastic perfectly. And it travels down to the leg. You have the dog leg. There's plenty of articulation here to simulate that, but we'll get to that. Have the toe claws down on the feet, which I guess is where toe claws usually are, on the feet. Have this armor band around the shin, comes up to knee pads, and then the pants, and even that has some sculpted detail right here with this T shape. Some wrinkles to both break it up and add realism, while these seams are sculpted too. The belt has this nice techie detail on the front, along with the seams, the chest plate. There's some wear and tear. He's seen some stuff. On the bracer, on this side, not on this side. Is this a communicator of some kind? I can't even remember. Up to the shoulder pads, not as much wear and tear. Most of that's centered around here. And then paint-wise, on the skin, you have these stripes on top of a light purple color, but then that fades into lighter grayish purplish color on the inside of the arm, and that travels down to the hand too with claws, and the claws are painted a different color. I was half expecting, oh, that's just the same paint color, but no, they punched them in. You can see it's kind of messy on the inside with that band right there. Have the yellow and this mustardy yellow brownish color that travels down, and right here, I don't know how apparent it is in the camera, and you can barely see it in person, but these seem to be a different shade of yellow. Maybe this is paint and this is plastic, or vice versa. But then the greens for here, and the armor plates, and the bands, and up here at the chest armor, there's actually 2 shades of green there too. Back to the techie details, that yellow shows up again on top of some silver, I think. Yeah, same thing here, silver, some yellow. And then the design work here on the left side, it just calls back to the cartoon. A slight bit of realism to it, but yeah, it's pretty much what we see. And of course that travels to the back. You have the 2 tones, you have the stripes, you have the yellow, the green. Yeah, the same thing. It gets a bit messy with the lighter colored overspray here on the back of the feet, but it's the back of the feet. What bugs me more, I think, is how it goes just from light color and stops right here. At first I thought, oh, that's a different shade of plastic, but it's just how the paint apps work down there. But then we have the head, and yeah, that's Zeb. Again, the design is unmistakably from the animated series, but then they've taken a couple of aspects and punched it up to make it more real world. The realistic beard on the chin and then running up the cheek. Some more grooves, some bumpies, some detail that you don't see in the animated series, but I think the biggest thing that throws me off is the size of the eyes. In the cartoon, they're bigger and they're smoother and they look more bug-like or alien-like. Here, they shrunk it down a little bit, and I think that's simply for the sake of realism. So while I like this, I dig it. Again, it matches the rest of the Rebels crew in the Black series, but I'd like to see maybe a custom head or just painted bigger or something. I was also afraid that the face was going to be asymmetrical going by the promotional images, but getting it in person, I think that's a trick of the light. The mouth does kind of angle up on this side, and I can't decide if it's a slight smile, little bit of grin, or it's snarling, or he's annoyed with something. The face can be used for several different things depending on the angle. But if I had any gripes, and I said fiddly a minute ago, it would be with the articulation in the legs. Right out of the package, the leg was straight, and at that point, this kind of wiggles around. But again, this is meant to be a dog leg, so when you kick it past that point right there, it tightens up. So if you're going to have him in his natural stance, it's a bit tighter. In fact, the ankles have some big old detents in them, and I think that's to compensate for the feet being this size, going angle and then angle forward and then coming up to here, and then he's bulky up top. It can be a chore to... It's sometimes a chore to stand them up. And it's even tougher to get them into a neutral stance. If you're OCD about standing straight up and down, that's going to take some... Yeah. The opposite end of the spectrum from that, the top knee joint, is tough as hell. In fact, out of the package, it felt stuck. And it's just getting past the detents. I'm sure once I've flexed it a couple of times, yeah, it's already loosening up. But then up the shoulders... slightly loose just at that hinge. And the weird thing is there is detents in the hinge going up, but it doesn't start until right here. Get past that, there's one big detent. Oh well, I guess it's just one bump. And then also rotating around there, it's smooth. Again, I've gotten so used to detents being in the joints that when I run across something like this, it's like, oh wait, what? But speaking of articulation, there is a dumbbell joint at the neck. So there's a ball going up into the head, ball going down into the body. And with that, you can look up. The shape and the chin hair work against looking down, but you can shift forward and back. But you know what dumbbell joint means. Oh, there's tilt. Swivels. Oh, even shift side to side. So hinges swivel at the shoulder. The shoulder pad does work its way into the torso, so you can come up to 90. Swivels around. Big clearance for the hinge and swivel at the elbow. That comes up past 90, which is not bad for the bulkiness of this arm with the armor and everything else. Hinges swivel up and down on a weapon holding hand. Very nice, Hasbro. And then that rotates. And then on the left hand, that is side to side. At the torso, there is a ball joint at the waist. Not as much crunch as I would like. I always think of Zeb as hunching, and he just doesn't hunch. But that goes back, and then of course tilt side to side, rotates. Ball coming out to the hip, can go forward, back, out. Oh, not too shabby. Better in Spider-Man. There is rotation at the thigh, but again, that joint is tight too. Not so much on the left though. That's weird. Double knee, and it's sculpted in a way where there is a cutout going as deep as possible right there. So it comes up at the top, and then that comes up to there, and of course he can kick his Lasat ass. It is weird that it shows purple right there, but that's just the color of the joint. There's also a hinge at the dog leg. It comes up to there. And then a hinge at the ankle goes back. Forward, not so much, but that's up here. That's as far as it'll go. And then there is a forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, he does come with his staff slash gun slash whatever else he wants to use it for. Again, that slight animated feel with the bigger wraps and the colors. And maybe I just see it that way because that's how I'm used to seeing the staff in the first place. But once again, they punched up, oh, this is real life factor with the chipping on the metal parts. This is how it comes in the package. From there, you can take off the electro ends. Both just pop off. The ends push in, and then the whole thing collapses down. Now, if I remember right, this is how it's stored. It's smaller, it's out of the way, he can carry it, or there's pegs on both sides, and he has peg holes on his back. So you can take that, and in the collapse position, both of those pegs fit right there. And it's fairly tight. But then there's also his blaster mode, where this rotates up this way, and this folds down. He does have a trigger finger hand, but because of how odd this is, it just kind of slips in, and I haven't really put the trigger finger on the other side of this. This will be my first attempt, so if it does rip something off, you'll see it right here. Nah, that's just a pain in the ass. What I've actually been doing is prying the left hand way open, getting it around this end. That's actually what he's holding it with, this slim grip. There's no tightness to it, but holding it with the left, it's not falling out. And even with the thick arms, you can get him into a fairly nice shooting position. Come and get me! Now through this, remember that you can alter Zeb's height with all the articulation in the legs. I only have the legs kicked back a little bit, so this is about maximum height. But at this height, he has a 6 and maybe 13/16 tall, which I think works perfectly with other members of the Ghost crew. And these are not the new reissues with the photo reels on the face. This is the old versions. Zeb is the only one I've gotten from the new series. Appropriately towering over both Sabine and Ezra. And the same goes for Chopper. And then Thrawn, he ain't scared. Doesn't matter how big Zeb is. But now that we have the whole Ghost crew, I need an older Rex and a younger Hondo to fit in with them. And because of that Chewbacca connection, here he is with the Amazon exclusive version. Still a bit shorter, but bulkier. Little trick, in case you push that too far in and it sticks or something, or you're just fumbly in the thumblies, you can take the energy effect, pop it on, and then zip, way easier, especially for us old folk. So at the end of the day, yay! I have Zeb. That's awesome. And it's been a long time coming, but because of the articulation that was needed here, the completely new sculpt, probably behind the scenes engineering that we don't know about, and the paint apps and all that, I can see why it took this long to get this character. This was a complicated prototype, and I'm guessing that's why we're seeing re-releases of all the rest of the Ghost crew too. The molds are already there. They are updating some of them with photo real, but the profits from those is probably going to the production of Zeb. And I'll reiterate it just one more time, he is slightly fiddly. It's difficult to get both feet flat on the ground, but once you do, it's stable, it stays, it looks great, and that's really all that matters, really. No, it's not, because I can get frustrated when I'm trying to get him to stand or pose. Stay in position! But also messing with the older Rebels figures again, even the ankles and where the detents are, they can be a chore too to get in poses. I guess that's just the nature of the beast. And again, it's just fun to complete the team, to get a new character, to just add to the Star Wars shelf. That's always a good day. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the Plus if you're interested in seeing videos early or just in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. I knew it was just that close to falling forward. But again, let's angle it back a bit, get the feet in a position, and yeah, not bad.